going to take you back to New York City, where actually the full extent of the ruin caused by Sandy is only now coming into focus. So let's go to ABC's Dan Harris, our colleague, who is in Staten Island tonight. Dan?
Terry, good evening to you from in front of what remains of a neighborhood restaurant here. The people in this area say they were hit by a sort of tsunami. In many ways, it was a secret tsunami because the vast majority of the media attention has really focused on the Jersey Shore and also lower Manhattan. So today we decided to travel here to Staten Island to see for ourselves this hidden pocket of utter devastation. We woke up this morning to alarming images out of Staten Island. People being plucked off their roofs 2 days after Sandy in scenes reminiscent of Katrina. Also reports of a desperate search for 2 children swept away from their mom in the storm surge. And then word that the death toll had nearly doubled to 14. It was becoming clear that Staten Island, a sleepy enclave best known as the namesake for the famous Staten Island Ferry, was a world away from the rest of this city, which today was getting moving again. So we hopped in the car outside of our office in Manhattan, expecting a journey that would be made very difficult by the city's maddening post-storm gridlock. Instead, the real problem became getting gas. We drove around northern New Jersey for hours, encountering interminable lines and frustrated people.
It's aggravated. That storm did a thing. Knocked down everything.
We were only saved by some relatives of one of our colleagues who brought us a 2-gallon jug of gas.
Yes, we should.
Okay, just keep it.
It's okay.
Finally, we arrived. And look at what we saw next from our window.
The transformer blew up and just took the whole store down. That's my open sign. This is the store. It burned down completely.
Then we got to the flooding. Mike Roman had just salvaged his kids' clothing from their flooded-out house.
Everything's floating. I saw my couch floating by. When I went to go look.
You saw your couch floating by.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Well, stuff you pay for, stuff you buy, stuff you work for.
We quickly started to hear stories about a wall of water that came through here. The water was up to that bay window.
Up to the bay windows, yes. At one point, the water was up to the bay windows coming into our front door.
And dragging cars down the street.
Dragging cars. It dragged my car out of the driveway down the street, flipping cars over. As you could see down the street here, there was cars flipped over, and it was just amazing. It was like a tsunami at one point. The waves, the pressure of the waves that were coming, they were over these houses here, and it was extraordinary what was happening.
It was coming in, rushing like a rapids. It was just coming. It was just curving around that corner and rushing down.
Some people were trapped in their homes and drowned.
There have been a lot of comparisons to Katrina, which is interesting for me, given that I covered Katrina. And I'll tell you, this is something that really does remind me of Katrina. Emergency officials walking through this neighborhood and marking every single house so that other emergency officials who come through can know, are there bodies in here? Has it been cleared?
The deeper we went on our tour of hell, the more bizarre the scenery became.
When the waves came through, they radically reshuffled the deck here. Things, everybody's worldly possessions, way out of place. The boat in the driveway, and come over here, take a look at this. We have a jacuzzi in a tree. This is quite extraordinary. It reminds me of what one guy we met just a few hours ago said. He asked me a question. He said, "Who's the boss?" And I said, "Who?" And he said, "Mother Nature."
But the craziest thing we saw today was Donald Clarkin's house.
This is your house right here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my house. It used to be over there.
So, yeah, the house, just to put a fine point on this, the house was there,
Right.
And the water pushed it all the way over here.
It pushed it, and the other side used to be on this side.
Oh, so it pushed it and twisted
and
it.
it twisted it, yeah.
It's sad, he told us, but he will rebuild. Resilience and a recognition that Mother Nature is, in fact, the boss. For Nightline, this is Dan Harris on Staten Island.